Candlepin Stars and Strikes is brought to you by the Thompson family of dealerships in Nashua, New Hampshire, and by Tri-State Megabucks and the New Hampshire Lottery, helping New Hampshire schools one ticket at a time. WNDS Sports presents Candlepin Stars and Strikes, featuring the best candlepin bowlers from all over New England. And now, in our 18th season, here's your host for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, Dick Lutsk and Mike Morin.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutsk with Mike Morin. It is week 2 of our Tournament of Champions, and last week, an emotional match, to say the least.
It very much was. Gary Santora was the winner over Tom Morgan, who recovers from some very serious health issues. And by the way, we didn't even mention this because we were so consumed with talking about Tommy. Tom's brother, Mike Morgan, his younger brother, is the top seed in the Tournament of Champions. We're going to see him in just a couple of weeks.
Let's meet our bowlers in our second match of the Tournament of Champions here this afternoon at Leda Lanes. First, last week's winner, our number 6 seed from Auburn, Massachusetts, Gary Santora.
Gary Santora, his 4th consecutive year in the Tournament of Champions competition, averaging 126, high single 193, high triple 466. Bowling at Colonial Lanes in Worcester and T-Bird Lanes in Auburn.
And Gary had a 363 last week to defeat Tom Morgan to advance to this week's match against the number 4 seed from Dracut, Massachusetts, Jeff Buggea.
20 years old and one of the quick rising stars in Candlepin bowling today. Averaging this season 122. His high single is 183, high triple 449. Jeff Buggea does a little part-time work at Pilgrim Lanes, and that's where he does his league bowling as well.
And we have a great crowd on hand. Let's get right to it. It's week 2 of the Tournament of Champions. We're getting right to this afternoon's match when we come back to Leda Lanes right after this on WNDS TV's Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Our Tournament of Champions began with 6 bowlers. 1 was eliminated last week. That's when Gary Santora defeated Tom Morgan. Now Gary Santora taking on Jeff Buggea with Joe Stella, Tom Olsta, and Mike Morgan waiting in the wings. And Gary Santora will be first to bowl here this afternoon at Leda Lanes. Another great crowd on hand for our Tournament of Champions. It was a very emotional match last week in which Gary Santora defeated Tom Morgan 363 to 285. The score was very irrelevant. It was the mere fact that Tom Morgan was here that made it all such a noteworthy event. Tom battling his way back from cancer.
We need to get him out on the speaker motivational circuit when he fully recovers and has perhaps a little more energy and time on his hands.
Wasn't that standing ovation at the end of the match? Well, really something.
Let me tell you something. I had trouble with it. I had wet eyes, as did many of the people in the gallery. So we've known Tommy for years, and once you get to know somebody, it touches home that much more closely, I suppose. Gary Santora now in the second frame has a 4 and a 7, a pretty easy spare with some wood right behind the 4-pin. Wow.
And Gary found himself in an unusual circumstance last week and caught up in the emotion of the match. He had work to do and a job to do, and he did it methodically. And he handled himself really quite well.
He is one of the true gentlemen in this game. It's always great to see Gary. Very polite, well-spoken young man. See, I must be getting old if I'm calling somebody 46 years old a young man.
And here's Jeff Buggea, and he is a young man.
He's a baby.
First ball right in the pocket, and here they go.
Jeff is, as we've spoken before, one of the graduates of the kids program, the junior program at Pilgrim Lanes in Haverhill, Massachusetts, which hosted the fundraiser a few months ago that Dick and I were a part of. And by the way, you'll see the 3rd and 4th boxes of our annual grudge match after the match here. Well, he's cranked up and ready to go, isn't he?
Jeff getting the crowd on fire here. While I think of it, I'll let you know that we have $1,225 in our triple strike jackpot. He almost put 2 together just there. He's got a strike and a 9 and a spare. $50 in bonus money for 3 consecutive marks. And Jeff Buggea right out of the gate in a hurry.
And all the confidence in the world of a young 20-year-old bowler who does some coaching as well. In the ICBA Canada tournament, went up with the kids this year, and I've got results actually to pass along over the next couple of weeks. There's too much really to do in one felled swoop, but we'll let you know how the kids did that we helped raise money for. back in March.
Gary Santora with his 126 average, as you saw. An 8-pin drop. The 4 and the 7 still stand with no wood to help out. Bounced it down and picked one. So he's missed a couple of spares here in the first 3 boxes.
And it's the same spare.
Yeah.
The 4-7.
Gary bowls out of the Colonial lanes in Worcester and the T-Bird lanes in Auburn. Been bowling for 26 years.
You realize that we're going to be back to that real emotional swell, Dick, in a couple of weeks when Mike Morgan returns as the top seed in this tournament. We don't know who his opponent will be, but you can bet that Brother Tom will be in the house, and once again, it'll be a different kind of emotion.
Gary with an 8-pin drop. He's got the 3 and the 10. And right around the 10-pin. He has missed 3 spares in the first 4 boxes that are really unbelievable. And a 9 box.
I'd like to take just a moment to tell everybody how the final WCBC Pro Stop of the Year turned out. Congratulations to John Zappi, who we've had on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. He ended up winning it with 13.33. Chris Bovair, the Candlepin Bowler of the Year in the WCBC. Second.
Buggea with another strike. He almost had 3 in a row. Watch it again.
And as we all know, that could have been a triple, Dick.
Absolutely.
The 6-pin standing between him and $1,325 as he looks now to throw another one. Tommy Olsta was 4th. Gary Carrington 3rd, and Sean Baker 5th at Fast Lanes in Stowe. Back on March 9th and 10th, the WCBC women's winner was Karen Valcourt, Cindy Cawley 2nd, Mary Thomas was 3rd, Maria Mazzarella was number 4, Janet Pock, who we've had on the show, number 5. High single for the women at Fast Lanes in Stowe was Joanne Rosano at 144.
An open frame for Jeff Buggea in the 4th. $50 in bonus money in Jeff's pocket already. And that'll be a 10 box. An early 20-pin lead in the match.
Dick, I want to mention who again, the bowlers of the year. That's how they tabulate all the scores over the course of the season and come up with the bowler of the year. And it was Chris Bovair for the men and Joanne Rosano for the women. So congratulations to them.
Best shot for Gary Santora.
Rookies of the Year, John Zappi, as you take a look at the replay of that spare from Gary. John Zappi, who won the final tournament for the WCBC this year, was the Rookie of the Year, and Amanda Hill for the women. So congratulations to all the bowlers. You can go to WCBCProTour.com if I kind of ran by all that stuff too quickly for you. And you can get all the information about the Pro Tour, including you can download an application for next year. If you have ever considered being on the Pro Tour, you can do so by going to WCBCProTour.com. There's bios of the bowlers, updates on scores, and applications to join, Dick.
A couple of spares for Gary Santora back-to-back. Here's Jeff Buggea. After an open frame, another strike. That's 3 strikes in the string for Jeff Buggea. 4 marks in all. 1 open frame. He's on fire to start out here. Right in the pocket again. A solid 10-pin still stands. Never moved a muscle.
So close to having 5 out of 6 strikes in this game so far for Jeff Buggea.
And another spare for Jeff Buggea.
And he's out on a quick 32-pin lead after only 6 boxes so far. Although Santora is starting to claw himself back with a couple of spares.
Gary looking for bonus money right here. He has a couple of missed spares early in the string that would have made a big difference. And look at this. He'll put 8 in the spare and surround the 6 and 10 with wood.
Three pieces of wood in front of the 610.
Look at that. It hopped over it. It hopped over the wood in front of the 6-pin. How unlikely is that?
And that's because the wood all wasn't touching. Otherwise, it would have pushed the pins right into it.
10 box for Gary Santora. You would think, watch this, as you say all the wood, you see, how can he miss that spare? The ball hopped over the wood.
Now there's a 4 drop, leaving everything pretty much on the right side. He has to go down.
Nice shot. There it goes. That's the 3rd spare of the string for Gary Santora, and as you look back on the string, he could have 5 or 6.
Easily. A couple of 4-7s that he missed, and then the 6-10 in the corner, and I think there was one other one in there that probably could easily have gone.
Jeff Buggea works on 2 marks in a row. Crossed over that time. He shoots from left to right, so from a right-handed bowler, his natural pocket is the 1-2.
It is, and he's got a bit of a backspin on the ball, going from left to right instead of right to left, which is a little more natural.
And there's the spare at $50 more in bonus money. So $100 in bonus money in the string for Jeff Buggea.
Well, he's in a nice groove. All the confidence in the world. Broke up what should have probably been a split on the last shot and turned it into a spare.
That's off the head pin, but he still put 7 in the mark. And he's got a makeable shot here. Jeff, a student at UMass Lowell with an undeclared major, leaning toward electrical engineering. Going to miss the spare, threw it past the head pin. Gave that a little bit more of an angle, too, didn't he, coming at it from the left side?
Which actually works in his favor when you're shooting a spare that's on the left side, like on the right side, rather.
And he'll pick up a 10 box. He's at 133 through 8.
And he hasn't left a pin standing yet today.
We forgot to give Gary Santora, or mention to Gary Santora last week, the $50 he won for having the high string in the match.
We were a little distracted with other matters last week, I guess, to remember that, but Gary won't let us forget.
Not going to make the spare. Gary with the 10 boxes at 113 through 9.
Dick, do you remember a couple of weeks ago we got a letter from somebody wondering about some of the electronic scoring and some of the symbols at the bowling center they bowl at, and they didn't quite understand what some of the symbols meant.
Yeah.
Sean Howard has put together a little list of the symbols that somebody asked about, and we'll pass that on to you guys here in just a couple minutes.
Missed the spare again. His 4th or 5th spare miss here in the first string on makeable shots. That'll be a 10 box for Gary and a 123 despite all the misses. A 123 first string for Gary Santora. Again, we'll get to some more of your cards and letters in the second string as well. And emails.
We thank you so much, bowling at WNDS.com, although we won't be back into production for next season shows until September. So if you're going to write to us, we'll respond to a lot of them personally, but you won't hear anything on the air till the fall for whatever you might send us over the summer.
Buggea almost made this shot, gave it a great run. And the 10 box makes it 143 through 9 for Jeff Buggea. Jeff also works at the front desk at Pilgrim Lanes, as Mike mentioned, works at Patriot Hardwood Flooring in Woburn. They're his Pro Tour sponsor. It's a pocket shot, and will it go? The 5-pin moves, but not enough to topple over.
Getting a sponsor on the Pro Tour is so important because it lets you focus more on the bowling and where the money's going to come from to pay for the entry fees, which are not inexpensive, I might add. And there's not a whole lot of money to be made in Candlepin bowling.
And a spare for Jeff Buggea in the 10th, so he's at 153 plus a ball. Great first string for Jeff Buggea. Filling the spare right through, breaks up the spread eagle, puts 6 in the mark. It's a 159 first string for Jeff Buggea and a 36-pin lead over Gary Santora. We head to string number 2. when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, the Tournament of Champions on WNDS TV. We pick up our grudge match from Pilgrim Lanes. Mike Morin and I competed.
Match over? Just ball, right? Just ball. Come on, Tony. Here they are.
Good lead for me over Mike Morin after 4. We'll pick it up next week and we'll run it down as Jeff Buggea is ready to continue at Leda Lanes.
Do you think Jeff took any inspiration from that bowling that we just showed?
I hope not. I hope he didn't pay any attention to it at all. Jeff Buggea, 159 first string to 123 for Gary Santora.
Yeah, I'd feel bad if the guy didn't throw a mark in the first 3 or 4 frames after that. Well, actually, we don't look that bad so far.
I hope it gets better. Here's Buggea with a spare to start the second string.
159 first string for Jeff Buggea from Dracut, Massachusetts. 20 years old. Just turned 20 on April 5th, a couple of weeks ago.
Leaves himself a tough shot. Puts 6 in the spare. The 2 and the 4 on the left, the 6 and the 10 on the right. Not easy.
A little too far to the right, to the left rather, of the object pin, which was the 2. He now go for the 2 in the corner, the 6 and 10.
All right, Mikey, you're the keeper of records and
okay,
one who knows all about statistics. Paula Fermani writes, can anyone give me some information on the record for a league bowling team, 2 women and 2 men, total pinfall for 3 strings? She bowls in the Fitchburg Gas and Electric Light Company Bowling League. Doesn't know when it was started, but she knows that her mother started bowling in the 60s as Gary Santora.
We got to see this one again, folks. He turned his back on it. Like it didn't even hit the head pin, Dick.
Went to the second pocket, and Gary's not even watching at this point. And there they go. Slowly, surely, eventually, they go. That's called slow motion. That's closer to the pocket.
Now, he deserved that one and gets a split instead. And that's why we love this game, because you just never know what's going to happen. So, Dick, I don't have a record book with me, and I don't know if there is even a record for that being kept anywhere. 2 men and 2 women, so
2 men and 2 women.
4-person team, 4-person mixed. I wish I could help you. Don't know. Probably somewhere around 550 or 600 would be my guess, somewhere in that area.
Anyway, Paula watches the show every Saturday and Sunday at noon, whether she's seen it or not. And we appreciate hearing from you. And we need a lot of publicity to help get Candlepin bowling known throughout all 50 states. She writes a P.S.
That would be nice. Don't know that's ever going to happen.
And we'd love to hear from you. And again, you know our email address, bowling@WNDS.com. And our mailing address is Candlepin Stars and Strikes, WNDS TV 50, Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire, 03038. Buggea.
Well, surprisingly, the 5-pin stays after almost getting rocked over by something off the wall.
An item sent in by Jackie Bedoin. I hope I'm saying it correctly. It's Buggea with a mark in the 4th frame. One thing I noticed on the CandlepinCorner.com website that the owners of the Waltham Bowling Wallex are considering selling, which would reduce the number of Candlepin lanes in the area.
Well, that is a recurring problem. The letter you just read from the woman before had hoped that bowling could spread to all 50 states, but indeed it's in some cases getting smaller locally because of the diminishing number of bowling centers. However, the bowling proprietors that are staying in business are really doing a great job at keeping the game alive. But in this case, more would be better. Hadn't heard that about the Wallex. Again, that's just from a letter we got.
And it was also on the CandlepinCorner.com. And she also writes in here, before she gets too far into this, could you suggest some ideas on running a successful bowling alley? Now, that's an interesting question.
Wow. Well, I could give you some people to talk to that have done it. Since Dick and I have never done that before, we're really not qualified to address that. Certainly, we have our theories on it.
Nice shot by Gary Santora as we go to the break. Santora and Buggea both working on marks. As we near the halfway point of this match, you're coming back to Candlepin Stars and Stripes, the Tournament of Champions on WNDS TV. Jeff Buggea working on a spare on lane 34 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutsk with Mike Morin. Our entire WNDS TV crew here today. Yes, Jeff Buggea throws one right into the pocket. 9 go. 1 will stand. It's the 6-pin. Kevin LaFont is our director today. Don Cronin's on the replay machine. Monica Colby working graphics. Dan Feely on audio. Paul Hunter on video. And our camera crew of Steve Kenny, Steve Gregoire, and Kevin Sheehan. As Jeff Buggea picks up the spare. 2 marks in a row now for Buggea. He already has $100 in bonus money from the first string.
Of course, you see our scoreboard. It's pretty simple, just numbers and symbols. But for some of you that bowl in various bowling establishments that have a more elaborate scoring systems, you've maybe been wondering about some of the symbols that you see. And thanks to Sean Howard here at Leda Lanes responding to an email, Dick, that we got a couple shows back, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. Somebody asking about various symbols. I have 4 of them to tell you about. If on your scoring system you have a crown, that means you're the only one on your team that got a mark in that frame. A hangman means the only one without a mark. If there is a pitchfork, it means nobody had a mark for that frame. And if you have a star, that means everybody has a mark. So that's the CompuScore scoring system, and thank you to Sean for helping crack the code.
There's one he didn't put in there, though.
And that is, Dick?
If you have someone holding their nose, it means you really stink. That's what I get that one all the time.
Sean only gave us the politically correct ones.
Gary Santora spread eagle on the spare. And a 9 box. I have a question for you, Michael.
Yes.
Why is it we seem to see more spread eagles and half Worcesters and shots of that ilk when bowlers are filling a mark? Doesn't it seem to be the case?
It really does. And I can certainly speak from experience on that one. But even the professionals will often fill with something like that on a mark. I bet if somebody kept statistics, they would find out that you throw more half Worcesters and spread eagles after a mark.
Gary with a 9-pin drop. Wood is problematic here.
Yeah, he's had his challenges with bad wood this week.
He would like to see that piece of wood closest to him straighten out. I think it did. And he's going to make that spare. Nice spare for Gary Santora in the 6th frame.
But he's still behind, even in this game. Even with a strike fail, he'll still be 2 pins behind Jeff through completed frames in the 2nd string.
Buggea on lane 34, 7th frame. Little pin in the pocket. Will he bust up the split? He will. He's got the 10-pin still standing. Again, wood is problematic for him. He's got a clear shot at it, but the way he angles the ball, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And that piece of wood in the gutter is also something to be considered. He played the wood on the left side, and look at the way he took that shot. Would you have thought to go that way?
Probably not, but it really was his best option. There was no danger of capping that one piece of wood or hitting the wood in the gutter, either way. So he took the best way out.
He bounced that one down, missed the head pin, and just puts 4 in the spare.
Our runner-up today is takes home a check of $250. Our winner goes on to bowl the number 3 seed in this particular Tournament of Champions, and that is Joe Stella. Joe Stella.
Buggea will be open in the 8th frame. It'll be a 9 box. He's at 104 through 8. Gary Santora working on a spare. Would like to put a couple together here to narrow the gap. Missed the head pin. 4 horsemen on the left side. He puts 6 in the mark. Will not make the spare.
Hit the 1 pin just a little bit too full, toppled the 2, and that was it. 4-7 are still there.
Now they're gone. A 10 box for Gary Santora. He's lost 10 more pins to Jeff Buggea. He missed the head pin on the left side that time and almost had the 4 horsemen on the right. The 3 pin went down. It's the 1, 6, and 10 with the wood between the 6 and the 10, which is a good piece of wood to have. Head pin is key here. Missed the head pin, missed the spare.
So a great opportunity goes by the board here with Jeff Buggea on an open frame.
And Jeff's going to have a pretty good sized lead. It will be a 9 box. Jeff has a 46 pin lead in the match. He led by 36 after 1. He's added 10 to it.
And he's never really been seriously challenged yet in this game by Jeff Buggea. I'm sorry, by Gary Santora.
Now Buggea right on the head pin again, but tough shot remains.
Couple more
3, 6, and 7.
Couple more statistics for you from this past season prior to the Tournament of Champions. The high single this year from Mike Morgan. 169. Bowled that on March the 10th. High triple. His brother, Tom Morgan. A 422, bowled that on February 3rd. Mike Morgan and Tom Morgan, high single and high triples, respectively, this season.
9 box for Jeff Buggea. He's at 113 through 9 frames. 4 marks in the 2nd string. In the 1st string, Jeff Buggea had 7 marks, including 3 strikes. Unfortunately, they were not consecutively. That would have been worth $1,200 and change, $1,225 to be precise. For 3 strikes in a row. That piece of wood rolling back. Jeff Buggea waiting for it to settle.
Not in a good spot for him.
He played the wood and has a 9.
He didn't want to play the wood, but it was deflected when he hit the tip of it.
He's at 122, and that's what it'll be, a 122 2nd string for Jeff Buggea. 2 string total of 281. Gary Santora has some work to do. He can eat into that margin with a couple of marks here. Right on the head pin, not much to show for it. 3, 6, 10 on the right, the 4 pin on the left. Look at that shot by Gary Santora for the spare, with no wood to help out. Great shot by Santora. You're going to get to see it again. Cut the 3 pin right into the 4 pin. Well done. On the spare, Santora right through the middle. There it is.
Did you just say that about 4 frames ago? Yeah. Oh, my. The spread eagle following a most beautiful split conversion by Gary Santora. Do it again, Gary.
He did! The spread eagle converted without any wood. 2 great spares by Gary Santora. Now, if it goes according to form, he'd probably chop a half Worcester right here.
Don't say that. He wasn't too far off from doing that, was he?
It's a 6 fill and a 124 second string for Gary Santora. He won the string by 2 pins. Buggea leads the match by 34, heading to the 3rd and final string. We continue with the Tournament of Champions from Lena Lanes in Nashua. It's Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Gary Santora comes back up to lane 34. Strong finish by Gary. Could have had better fills in the spare. Finished with back-to-back spares, making 2 impossible splits. Put 4 in one and 6 in the other. Finished with a 124. Stay within shouting distance of Jeff Buggea. A 34-pin lead for Buggea after 2.
He converted the spread eagle, and I would say that we see that maybe once or twice a year in a conversion.
Oh, look at this. How did he miss that one? Looked like the wood was right there.
Now, Dick, in the frame before the spread eagle, he had a similar configuration of pins, which basically was almost like making back-to-back spread eagles.
Boy, I don't know how he missed that spare.
Well, as you look back today, his deficit is roughly equivalent to the number of bad breaks he's had or just bad wood attempts. Like the one you just saw.
You thought would be in the book, but he just could not convert. This is another tough spare for Gary. Not going to make this one. So he'll be open to the first 2. $8 for Gary Santora. Open through the first 2. Jeff Buggea can do some damage with a couple of marks here. Can really put some distance between himself and Gary Santora if he can convert. Missed the head pin. 4 horsemen left side. 9 pin in the back row. Buggea with an $8.
Leaves the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 5. The double wood, the 1 and 5 make this the gives you the difficulty factor here.
Don Stickney Sr. from Bosco in New Hampshire sent us in a picture of the Concord Keglers.
Was this
the Concord Church Bowling League organized since 1930. Bowling at Boutwell's. Doesn't say when this picture was taken.
Take a look at the fashions. I see a lot of thin ties.
Yeah, I see the thin ties. You certainly can tell that.
There's a shot out of the 60s, I'll bet, that picture. Actually, my wardrobe is not that far off from that now.
Well, pictures, let's see if I can... Phil Fontaine, Lloyd Price, George Curtis.
Lloyd Price, the guy that sang Personality?
Bill Ferguson, Carl Adams, Don Stickney, who sent in the information, and Fred Carter, all in this photo from the Concord Keglers. Thanks very much.
Nice play-by-play of a team photo there, Dick.
Familiar names to some, I'm sure.
I imagine.
He also sent in a couple of copies of the poem, Bowling by George W. Parker.
I think we've had a few other folks.
Yep.
We always thank you for the bowling history that you send and share with us, and we try to share as much of it as we can as time allows on our shows. There's a lot of email we haven't even gotten to yet we want to touch on. So it's the 6 and the 10 for the 10 box, and it'll be a 9 for Santora.
Gary opened through the first 4 frames of the string. He can ill afford that. Running out of frames. That's right in the pocket for Jeff Buggea. 8 pins fall. The 7 and the 8 stand. Wood on the deck.
Well, everybody's shouting red line, shooting for the stripe on the pin that's at a bit of an angle between the 7 and the 8. Hits it right. They both should go.
There you go. First mark of the string belongs to Jeff Buggea. Nice note from Mrs. Henry Perrin from Leicester, Massachusetts, just outside of Worcester. Did I ever tell you I was from Worcester?
Not today, you haven't. Have I ever told you I'm from Leicester?
I know Leicester very well. Actually, my dad grew up on a farm in Spencer, which is just beyond Leicester, outside of Worcester, so I know that area pretty well. Thank you for writing, Mrs. Perrin. Nice to hear from you.
So what goes on in Leicester on a Saturday night, pray tell, since I left?
Everybody gets in the car and hops and takes a ride out to Spencer. Buggea with an open frame. We're going to the break. Buggea with the lead, a 41-pin lead in the match. 6 frames remaining. We're coming back to Leda Lanes for the grand finale right after this on Candlepin Stars and Stripes on WNDS TV. Gary Santora ready to bowl at Leda Lanes. And it's great to have you with us for the Tournament of Champions on WNDS TV. Dick Lutsk with Mike Morin. Week 2, Gary Santora with a strike. First mark of the string for Gary. Not his first strike of the match, but certainly the most impressive strike he's had. That one took no time flat.
2 years ago, when Gary was the number 4 seed, he lost to Scott Creighton in a 2-frame roll-off after the bowlers both tied at 349. In the Tournament of Champions, it was Scott Creighton over Gary Santora. It was 29-26 in the 2-frame roll-off, which is customary whenever we have a tie. Interestingly enough, Gary Santora got to the Tournament of Champions by tying Mike Kusha and then beating him in not 1 but 2 double-frame overtime throws.
Nice spare for Gary. He puts 2 marks together. Trying to make a run here at Jeff Buggea.
Well, his only hope is to run off the sheet here to take it all the way down. And you have to assume that Jeff Buggea is good for a couple more marks as well. He's kind of slowed down after his first game of 159.
Well, he's off the head pin there. And he leaves the 1, 7, and 10 with some wood. And of course, the head pin is key here. Can't make it without taking the head pin first. Got the head pin, and there they go. Did not make it the conventional way. That piece of wood slid all the way across. Watch it again. Watch that piece of wood on the left come all the way across. On the spare, Buggea will put 9 in the mark.
Plenty of body English from the young 20-year-old bowler from Dracut, Mass. If you're not familiar with the area. Suburb just outside of Lowell, actually just on the other side of the Merrimack River. Lived there for about 10 years. Nice town.
And he'll take the spare. Cat it all the way, right? He'll tell you. 2 marks in a row for Buggea. So he regains the momentum that Gary Santora tried to take away with a couple of marks back-to-back, and Buggea matched his marks with marks of his own.
Dick, it's always great to get email from some of our younger bowlers. I'd like to show one right now.
Gary deserved better than that. He was right on the head pin, and look at what he leaves.
Dear Dick and Mike, my name is Adam, 14 years old, been bowling since I was 3. I joined a youth league at the Wallax Rec in Waltham. You're just talking about them. When I was 8 or 9, what he'd like to do is see some junior bowlers on television. He was inspired by Danny Harris bowling 4 weeks in a row. He finally lost to Tommy Olst, as I'm sure you know. Anyway, he would like to see some kind of Candlepin bowling for kids on TV. Actually, there was one back before I came to the Boston area when kids actually did bowl. I think, don't know if it was Channel 5 or 7.
I don't remember the kids show. People have told me about it. I just don't remember it.
It says, in any case, what are the requirements to be on the show? I vaguely remember something about being 18 with a 112 average. Well, the truth is, it doesn't matter what your average is. You just have to bowl better than the rest of the field. You have to be in the top 5 when the qualifying roll-offs occur here at Leda Lanes. There's never really been an age put on it. Our youngest bowler has been 18, and that was Danny Harris.
Santora for the mark. Got it. That time he made it. Look at the look on his face. Disbelief that he finally made one.
So, Adam, in a couple years, work on your game. You come see us, and perhaps Dick and I will be talking about you some Saturday or Sunday afternoon on Stars and Stripes.
Wouldn't that be nice? Jeff Buggea working on 2 marks. Look for some bonus money here. It's not done yet, gang. It's not done yet. This is a $50 shot for Jeff Buggea. He has $100 in bonus money already in the match. Make it $150.
He's on the verge of putting it away and advancing to next week's match against Joe Stella. Week after that, you'll see the great Tommy Olstad and the #1 seed 2 weeks from now, Mike Morgan.
Buggea, pocket shot, 8 in the mark. That wood, he'd like to have angle a little bit.
That's exactly where he wants
it.
He'll be upset with himself if he misses this.
The wood is angled just about right, it looks from here. And here it is. Another $25 in bonus money for Jeff Buggea. 4 marks in a row.
Have we seen some great spare shooting and split conversions today? We certainly have.
So now Gary Santora will try to win some more bonus money, as you saw the replay of the spare. Santora with a strike. Again, I remind you, $1,225 in the triple strike jackpot. And Gary Santora would love a piece of that. There it is in the pocket. There they go. Well, it comes down to this, gang. Gary Santora isn't going to win the match, but he's got a chance to win some money.
Well, he's won bonus money right here, $50.
$50 he has. This is $1,225. Gary Santora. Watch out. Don't give up on it yet.
Oh, don't turn your back. Oh, no. He turned his back earlier today on a strike when he didn't even hit the head pin. He spun around and almost missed that one going down.
And a 9. Gary Santora finishes with a 149. A strong finish for Gary. $50 in bonus money. Buggea puts 7 in the spare.
And he has officially won this match. He's got 397 now and add another 7 pins, so he's at 404.
And another spare for another $25 in bonus money. What a shot that was. He's really pulling him out of the hat, isn't he? The ball bounced off the wood into the pin across the alley. 5 marks in a row for Jeff Buggea. Almost 6 marks in a row. It still may be 6 marks in a row, but he almost put a strike on the board. And another $25 in bonus money for Jeff Buggea.
He'll win the high string of the day award, which is $50 with a 159, but he's got a shot at 155 with a strike right here.
He's already at 426. Plus this ball. There's your half Worcester and a mark. A 147 third string for Jeff Buggea. 428 triple to Gary Santora's 396. Buggea advances. And we'll meet our bowlers when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire for the wrap-up of match number 2 of the Tournament of Champions right after this on WNDS TV. Jeff Buggea defeats Gary Santora. Final score 428 to 396. Gary Santora stands here with us. First of all, Gary, your consolation prize of $250. We also had $50 in bonus money, plus another $50 from last week that I forgot to give you for having the high string in last week's match. But you had a run at the triple strike there at the end of the match.
I thought I had it when I let the ball go, but it just maybe came in a little heavy.
And you were telling us you had that money spent already.
Oh, yeah. Had a new driveway put in yesterday. so it's gone.
That would have been a nice way to pay for it, but congratulations to you. We'll see you next year in the Tournament of Champions, we hope
I'm
again.
sure he'll be back.
Gary Santora, our runner-up here this afternoon. And now Jeff Buggea on lane 33 will bowl the ball and will have an opportunity for you at home to win a prize in our bonus ball contest. Go ahead, Jeff. Jeff Buggea racked up some bonus money himself. Breaks away from the spread eagle. There they go. They continue to go. There they go. Oh, he almost got them all. Started out as a spread eagle, and it ended up almost a strike.
Realize all the people with 7, 8, or 9 are very upset with you, Jeff. Well, actually, 9 is the number we had,
9
right?
is the number we had, but not on the card. On the card, it's not a complete card, not filled out. You got to fill all the information in there.
All right.
If you don't put all the information on the card, we can't use it.
Do we have everything on that one? I believe we do.
This one looks good.
Yep.
Mr. Raymond Pino of Derry picked 8, not a match. A consolation prize from N&R Trophies.
Well, it was a match for about 3 seconds.
Come between us here, Jeff. And we'll talk to Jeff Buggea, $428, $225 in bonus money, another $50 for having the high string in the match. You were on fire there for a while.
Yeah, it's good for me to finally get going on TV. I mean, I've had a couple low triples on my previous few matches. It's a good feeling, real good feeling.
You had a chance to go up to Canada, I understand, for the International Candlepin Bowling Association's youth tournament with the Pilgrim Lanes. What's it like now being on the other side? You were coached for so many years, which helped your bowling success. Now you're doing the same. What kind of satisfaction do you get from that?
I love being able to pass down what I've been taught to, the younger kids. It's a great feeling to know that a coach, I can coach them just like I got coached, I feel I have a lot to offer them, and they love me because they know me.
Is there any one bowler along your way developing as a professional or as a coach that really inspired you or really gave you that extra encouragement?
You mean one of the kids?
Or actually one of the people that coached you on your way up?
Well, definitely Bart Medeiros, and definitely having Tony Marie in the building to help me out, give me all I needed, to become a good, well-developed bowler.
Well, it gets tougher as the weeks go on now.
Of course. A lot of stars in this.
Jeff, congratulations to you. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Jeff Buggea, our winner here this afternoon, defeating Gary Santora, 428 to 396. And up the ladder we go.
That's right. Joey Stella, Tommy Olsa, and Mike Morgan in the weeks ahead.
We'll look forward to seeing you again next week for the Tournament of Champions, Week 3 from Leda Lanes in Nashua. For Mike Morin and our entire WNDS TV crew, I'm Dick Lutsk. Thanks for watching, everybody, and remember...